And like moving to like Vegas to like gamble professionally and play poker is just something that like no one else really like heard of at the time.
Like I think in Michigan, being like a poker player is kind of, equated with being like a janitor or like a fast food worker, whereas in California or in Vegas or something, it would be looked at as like a very cool job. Especially in Vegas, like I think, it's above like lawyer and doctor and whatnot.
When I see people that I haven't seen in a while that know like both me and Andrew from like high school, they always like ask me about him, like how well he's doing and if he still like lives out there, because like it almost seems like people don't think he can like sustain his lifestyle for that long, so they always ask, if he's still doing well, if he's still living out there, like almost like expecting to hear that, he's moved back here and it didn't like work out for him. Whenever I tell him that, he's still out there and he's doing well, that he like lives on the strip and stuff, they kind of like get a look of awe on their face. And they're kind of like amazed because they know him like the same way I like grew up with him back in high school as like a more introverted kid, not someone who goes out on the strip and goes out every night.
Andrew as a kid, he was a good kid, pretty normal, well adjusted. He was a little kid. You'd ask him what he wanted to grow up to be. He wanted to be a professional video game player.
Oh,
and then like when you were playing StarCraft and World of Warcraft and stuff, you would always check the world rankings to see where you ranked.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I played football and everything too, but I would never really consider myself a jock. I would have like much rather like stayed at home and play video games for,
I think like sports kind of got in the way of like fucking video games.
Yeah, it was definitely like not like sports was more of a recreational and video games is more of what I took like seriously at the time.
For the longest time, we always thought he played, online video games. So I thought, okay, he's gonna, be a video game pro and whatever. And then after our parents split up, we moved to 2 separate houses. And so him and his buddies would come over and, they played poker games all the time. And this was like his senior year in high school.
He was still in high school, living here, and didn't tell me, but he started playing poker online.
No, I remember I'd played, like my dad would watch me play sometimes, so that's how I got into sit-and-go tournaments first, because in the top left-hand corner of the cash game tables, I'd be like, real money game or whatever.
Right.
But if you played the sit-and-go tournaments, it would just be like tournament table and then the tournament number. And all the chips, it's just like, play chips because of their tournament chips, so that way he wouldn't know.
That's right, so well, you started out that way, and then you started playing for real money, but you didn't tell me that.
Yeah, or that's what I was just saying.
Exactly.
I play the tournaments because it looks the same as the play money.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had me fooled for a little bit.
So this is where I first started playing poker, right here on this, beautiful Dalcrin computer that's been here forever. And I guess I'll just sit down and get on the computer. My dad used to, sit behind me here and spot me.
It was kind of entertaining. I'd watch him for, hour or so at a time just to see how things going, but then I'd beg him to. I'd ask him questions, and he'd want to concentrate and say, I can't explain it right now. Just keep going.
So here I have on, this looks like all the sit-and-goes I played. So I played, looks like 449 sit-and-goes. And my ROI was 208%, which is, if anyone knows anything about sit-and-goes, like, most of the pros nowadays are on at probably like, 8%. So this shows you, 1, how soft the games were, and 2, how lucky I was getting at the start of my poker career.
He didn't want to have a regular job. He didn't want to have a normal life. I think that's something that he kind of would seek out, is to, he wanted to be famous, wanted to get on TV and all that.
And that's when you kind of thought, okay, maybe he's not just gonna go to school and be a businessman, and maybe that's not for him. So.
Yo, we gotta hold up V's. We all gotta hold up V's.
If you can get sponsored in any way, shape, or form, that's just, that's all gravy, of course. I mean, you're playing poker, and you're usually making, if you're any good at it, you should be making pretty good money. But if you can get sponsored to the point where these websites are paying your tournament entry fees, you're playing for free on their sites, maybe you're getting an hourly amount to play on their sites and that kind of thing, that can amount to, several $100,000 a year.
Getting well known is a goal of a lot of players, partially just because what comes with that is more money and sponsorships and things like that, but partially just because of, I guess, ego. And, it's nice or people think it's nice, I guess, or hope it'd be nice to have everybody know who they are.
Right behind me is Team Victory, ladies and gentlemen, right here. As you see it, Team Victory. What a sexy bunch, a group of guys.
I think for a lot of internet players, there's two sides of it. Some are ready for the celebrity and ready to be recognized and relish in it, and there are other internet players who would rather stay behind the computer, and aren't really ready to embrace the poker celebrity, but it's part of the game now.
Biggest pot set, huh? Oh, I can't call. Wow, he got there. He made the wheel. He called my raise on the flop with the nut low. The flop was ace 5 jack and a 3-bet pot, and he bet and I raised and he called. And then he obviously rivers a 3. How could he not river the 3? The main reason people get into poker is, a lot of them won't admit this, but they have, a part of them that's a little bit sick. They have a little bit of the addictive personality or the gambling addiction, and that's the reason they get into poker.
I cannot imagine doing this for 17 hours.
I'm a hard worker.
Yeah.
And then I think out of those people, the people who work the hardest, who are the most intelligent, and who can be the most disciplined, who can kind of control their sickness, are the people who are ultimately going to be successful. How many push-ups can you do, Terrence?
Like, in middle school, I had the record.
Who cares what you could do in fucking
No. I'm
school?
saying, like, remember when the army people came and I had to go in front of everybody in the lunchroom? I did, like, 65 then.
That's pretty good.
So,
I
from
could probably
then
do
and a
more
lot of
push-ups in
smoking and
middle school,
alcohol, I'll
Probably
put that in
reduce
half.
that in half, yeah.
I bet I could do probably, like, 50, honestly.
When I go back to Michigan, I love to see my old friends. I love hanging out with them. They're still the same good guys, They knew me before I had any type of success, and I love them.
I think the first time I ever realized what a huge deal it was and how he was doing was the first time we saw him on TV, and that was just crazy. I was like, that's my brother and he's on TV, and they're announcing his name, and it was just really strange. So
my parents have seen you on TV, Andrew, on Poker After Dark and stuff.
Yeah.
They think it's so weird because they remember us as the little kids who were got caught sneaking out.
Yeah.
At sleepovers and stuff like that. And you're on TV playing for tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I know my mom, whenever you lose a pot, she'd feel bad. She's like, I don't want Andrew to lose any money.
What do you tell her?
I was like, it's okay. I think he's used to it by now. Yeah. Or I hope he is.
I think when I realized Andrew was making, that kind of money playing poker online, it was when he was going to MSU and he was paying his own tuition. I'm like, wow, he's really making some money. So I think that's when I really started to wake up and read his blogs and, figured out what's going on in his life with this online poker playing. So.
When I first went into college, I was like, wow, I need to take this seriously now. I actually went to all my classes, I was studying. And then I started to make more and more money, playing poker.